My toxic parents threw me a $250,000 birthday party and stole $250,000 from me the same night. Crystal chandeliers, country club ballroom, 100 guests in designer suits, my father raising a champagne glass, calling me his greatest achievement, my mother crying on cue like she deserved an Oscar. They toasted my future. By morning, they had erased it. And the worst part? They made me hug them while they did it. I turned 30 in a ballroom that didn't belong to me. White tablecloths, imported roses, live jazz band in the corner, my name printed in gold on the menu cards, the kind of event people post on LinkedIn with captions like, "So proud of our daughter." My father spared no expense. At least that's what he told everyone. "Family takes care of its own," he said into the microphone, smiling at investors, church friends, business partners. We built everything for her. Built everything. That's funny, because I built my own savings account from nothing. I started working at 18, 2 jobs in college, no help, no trust fund, no daddy's company internship. I saved birthday money, bonuses, tax returns, every extra dollar. By 29, I had $250,000 sitting in an investment account. My security, my freedom, my exit plan. They knew that. At the party, my mother clung to my arm like she was my trophy. She kept whispering, "Smile bigger, people are watching." They always cared about who was watching. My father gave a speech about legacy, about how proud he was that I finally learned responsibility. That line made people laugh, because growing up, they told everyone I was irresponsible, dramatic, ungrateful, difficult. It was their favorite trick: publicly praise, privately destroy. Halfway through the night, my father wrapped his arm around my shoulders and said into the mic, "Everything she has because of us." The room applauded. I felt my jaw tighten, because that wasn't pride, that was ownership. And ownership was their favorite word. Later, while guests danced, my mother pulled me aside near the bar. "You're welcome," she said softly. "For what?" "For tonight. Do you know how much this cost us?" I didn't, but I knew that tone. That tone meant debt. It meant someday, somehow, I'd be paying for it. Before midnight, my father insisted on a family photo. He held me tight, too tight, smiling for cameras, and he whispered in my ear, "Remember who made you." I didn't understand why that sentence made my stomach drop. I would the next morning. The morning after. I woke up exhausted but relieved. 30 felt like freedom. James, my husband, had still been asleep beside me. He'd told me the night before, "Your parents are performing again." He saw them clearly. I didn't want to. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen counter, opened my banking app to transfer money for the caterer's tip I'd offered to cover personally. And that's when my chest went cold. Available balance, $0. I blinked, refreshed, logged out, logged back in, $0. Transaction history. Wire transfer, $250,000. Processed at 12:43 a.m., while they were handing out cake, while they were hugging me, while my father was telling a room full of people that everything I had was because of him. My hands started shaking. I called my father. Straight to voicemail. I called my mother. She answered. Her voice was soft. Too soft. "Sweetheart, you sound upset." I didn't speak for 3 seconds. Then I asked, "Where is my money?" Silence. Then she sighed. "We need to talk about responsibility." Responsibility. They stole $250,000 from me and wanted to lecture me about responsibility? That's when I realized something terrifying. This wasn't panic. This wasn't an accident. This was planned, and I had just been the guest of honor at my own financial execution. I didn't cry. That's what they expected. Shock, tears, confusion, gratitude even. Instead, I drove to their house, the same colonial brick house they'd used as a stage set for 30 years. The one with the perfect lawn, the American flag, the wreath that changed with every season. Appearances mattered more than oxygen in that house. My father opened the door before I knocked twice. He looked calm, too calm. "Good, you're here," he said, like we were meeting for brunch. I walked past him into the foyer. "Where is my money?" No greeting, no small talk. He closed the door slowly. "It's safe." Safe. That word. Safe where? With us. My mother stepped into the hallway, arms crossed. "You weren't using it wisely," she added. "We were protecting you." Protecting me? From what? My own adulthood? I laughed. I couldn't help it. "You wired $250,000 out of my account at 12:43 a.m. while you were feeding me cake." My father's jaw tightened. "You invested it properly. You stole it." His voice rose instantly. "Watch your tone." There it was. Not denial, not apology. Control. He stepped closer. "You would not have that money if it weren't for this family's reputation, our network, our name." I stared at him. "I worked 2 jobs through college." "And who paid for your childhood, the roof, the food?" My mother snapped. They were rewriting history in real time, like they always did. My entire life, they'd treated love like a loan with interest. My father walked into his office and motioned for me to follow. On his desk was a printed document, a transfer confirmation. The money had been moved into an LLC with his name on it. "You put it in your company?" I asked. "It's a smarter vehicle." "It's your company. It's family." No, it wasn't family. It was control. "You didn't even ask me." He leaned back in his leather chair. "If you had asked, you would have said no." Exactly. That's when the humiliation shifted, because suddenly I saw it. They didn't think I'd confront them. They thought I'd panic, they thought I'd beg, they thought I'd accept their version of reality. My mother walked in holding coffee like this was casual. "You embarrassed us last night." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "You didn't look grateful enough during your father's speech." There it was again. Image over integrity. "You stole my life savings." "And we gave you a beautiful party," she shot back. "A party? For $250,000? I looked at both of them, and something inside me went cold. Not rage, clarity. "You need to reverse the transfer," I said calmly. My father smiled. "No, just that. No." "Legally," you continued, "you gave us access. We acted within our rights." He thought that ended it. He thought paperwork meant power. "You really think this won't destroy you?" My mother scoffed. "Destroy us? We built this town." Church board, charity galas, business associations, they didn't just have money, they had reputation, and reputation was their weapon. "You won't say anything," my father added, "because if you do, people will ask why you gave us access in the first place. They'll question your judgment." There it was. Shame. Their favorite leash. He leaned forward. "And if you try to fight this publicly, you'll look unstable, ungrateful, vindictive." The room went quiet. They weren't scared. They were confident. Confident I'd protect the family image the way I always had. Confident I'd choose peace over justice. They underestimated something. James. When I got home, he was waiting. I told him everything. Every word, every smirk, every manipulation. He didn't get loud. He didn't explode. He just asked one question. Do you want your money back, or do you want your power back? That question changed everything, because this was never just about $250,000. It was about control. If I let them get away with this, they'd own me forever, financially, emotionally, socially. I opened my laptop, started researching, and within 30 minutes, I found something interesting, very interesting. The LLC they moved my money into, there were irregularities, unreported assets, tax discrepancies, filings that didn't align. My father was arrogant, but he wasn't careful. And suddenly, I realized something terrifying. If I pulled this thread, the whole empire could unravel. James looked at me. You don't have to protect them anymore. That sentence hit harder than the theft, because he was right. For 30 years, I'd protected their image, smiled at church, defended them to friends, explained away their cruelty. Not anymore. I picked up my phone, dialed a lawyer. Not a family friend, not someone from their country club, a real one. And when she answered, I said, my parents stole $250,000 from me last night, and I think they may have tax fraud. There was a pause. Then she said, tell me everything. And for the first time in my life, I did.
The first letter went out on a Tuesday. Not dramatic, not loud. Certified mail. My lawyer moved fast. Within 48 hours, my parents received a formal demand for the immediate return of $250,000, plus documentation of where it had been transferred. Within 72 hours, the LLC was under legal review. Within a week, their perfect world started cracking. And the most beautiful part, they still thought I wouldn't go through with it. My father called first, not yelling, not commanding, panicked. You involved an attorney? Yes. How dare you turn this into a legal issue? Legal issue. He stole my money and was offended I made it legal. You wired my savings into your company. It's a family vehicle. It's fraud. Silence. Then the threat. If you do this publicly, you'll destroy this family. There it was again, the same script. Fear, shame, reputation. I didn't raise my voice. You destroyed this family the moment you stole from me. He hung up. 2 days later, church board members started calling. Apparently, someone had asked questions about financial transparency. My father's name was attached to several charitable management accounts. When auditors start looking, they don't blink, they dig. My mother showed up at my door that Friday. No makeup, no pearls, no performance. Just anger. You're humiliating us. I almost laughed. I humiliated you in front of 100 people. That was a celebration. It was a distraction. Her voice cracked. You're being cruel. Cruel. That word hit differently, because cruelty was stealing from your daughter and calling it protection. Cruelty was rewriting history until your child doubted her own memory. Cruelty was hugging someone while transferring their life savings out of their account. I asked for my money back privately, I reminded her. You threatened us. You stole from me. She had no answer for that. The audits uncovered irregular transfers. The LLC wasn't clean. It never had been. When money moves carelessly, it leaves fingerprints, and fingerprints don't care about country club reputations. Within 3 weeks, my father stepped down from 2 boards. Within 5 weeks, donors started pulling back. Not because I made a speech, not because I exposed them publicly, but because truth spreads quietly when you stop protecting lies. And then came the final call. My father, voice hollow. The money will be returned. No apology, just surrender. Plus interest, I said calmly. He didn't argue. 2 days later, $250,000 reappeared in my account, plus legal fees, plus damages. I stared at the screen for a long time. It wasn't victory I felt.
It was release. They thought money was power, but power was information. Power was boundaries. Power was finally refusing to play along. A month later, there was another event at that same country club. Not for me, for them. A community transparency meeting. Attendance was thin. Whispers were loud. For the first time in their lives, they weren't admired, they were questioned. And that terrified them more than any lawsuit. My mother sent one last text. "You've changed." I replied, "No, I stopped protecting you." James asked me that night if I felt bad. I thought about it. About the party, the speech, the wire transfer at 12:43 a.m., and the way they smiled while stealing from me. "No," I said, "I feel free." They stole $250,000, but what they really lost? Control, and that's worth more than money.
If you were in my place, would you have stayed quiet to protect the family, or would you have exposed them and taken everything back? Tell me honestly, because I know some of you are living this right now. Drop your answer in the comments, and if you believe toxic parents should never get away with betrayal, like this video and subscribe. There are more stories you're not ready for.